Today we're going to explore Victorian bathrooms. When this house was built, indoor plumbing was a relatively new concept, and Victorians were very much into cleanliness. So let's take a minute and talk about the Victorian hygiene and how they designed their bathrooms.
By the late 1800s, Louis Pasteur's idea that germs were everywhere was proven with the use of microscopes. The idea that germs were prevalent made cleanliness very important to the Victorians. This meant that they made every effort to appear and smell clean, even washing themselves with strong carbolic soap. Early in the Victorian age, filling a large tub with hot water and then disposing of it was just too labor-intensive to do often. But bathing was still actually very common. It was just done using a small wash basin and a sponge in the bedroom. All the important parts were washed, and the wealthy had specialty porcelain bowls or basins for each body part. Foot baths were done more often, sometimes twice a day, and sitz baths, where you sit down in a shallow dish of water, were also common. This form of bathing limited the amount of water that had to be heated and carried through the house. Chamber pots were also kept in the bedrooms to keep from having to go to an outhouse outside in the middle of the night. Running hot water and sewer lines to take the waste away to treatment facilities propelled the concept of hygiene out of the bedroom and into dedicated bathrooms. Since the very rich were the first to have access, it's no wonder that the early bathrooms were very fancy, and fixtures were made to look like fine furniture. Practicality soon prevailed, and bathrooms transitioned to the tile wonders that remain today. But early bathrooms started out with many specialty fixtures to mimic the old-style bathing techniques. A fully appointed Victorian bathroom could have a tub, foot bath, sitz bath, a toilet, a dental sink, a regular sink, all sorts of things, even showers. Initially, immersion bathing was considered more of a medicinal thing than a cleanliness function. Full-on bathing was so new that some cookbooks even included detailed instructions on how and when to bathe and what temperatures to use for the desired medical purposes. This house was originally built with a half bath located in the first floor under the grand staircase for guests. The servants' bathroom was located in the basement, and the family bathroom was located on the second floor, directly over the butler's pantry. This location was strategic from an architectural standpoint. The butler's pantry sink backs up to the kitchen sink, so all the original plumbing in the house would be located in the same wall and shared one big cast iron waste pipe, or as the plumbers would say, a stack. Even the servants' bathroom in the basement was located to use that same stack. This saves time and money when building the house, and when J.C. League built this house in 1993, it was occupied only by himself, his wife, and their daughter Daisy. So 3 people would have shared this bathroom. Old habits die hard, so each bedroom was equipped with a sink so that you could continue to sponge bathe and get ready in the bedroom. This sink is in J.C. and Nellie's bedroom, and it's hidden away in a closet. A slop hopper was located in the servants' hall to accommodate emptying bedpans and wringing out mops and things.
Now that you have a little overview, come on in and let's take a look at the bathroom that would have been used by the family. So just like we've talked about, Victorians were into cleanliness, and white was a symbol of clean. So in this bathroom, it's all white on the floor, the walls, but it does have this beautiful kind of violet, purpley accent tile, which is just lovely. For the most part, the tile is in great shape. I'm excited about that. I'm a bit of a tile-aholic. When I go on vacation, I take hundreds and hundreds of pictures of tile. I love it. I'm a little distressed that in a Victorian house like this, it's all white, but I still think it's really neat, and I'm glad to have it. Talk a little bit about the fixtures that are in here. This is a marble sink with nickel legs. I found online a magazine that had an ad for a Mott sink from 1893 that is this exact sink.
The ad reads, "It will be seen that in this lavatory there are no protruding faucets, that the cold and hot water can be mixed before passing into the basin. The patented brass legs of 4 provide firm support and being recessed are not in the way. Mixing the hot and cold water together in a single spigot was also cutting edge.
You can see that this sink matches exactly. It has this no intrusion spigot. I don't have the original faucets, but I can find something from that era to put back.
I read somewhere that the spigot didn't extend out far because the habit previously had been to fill a wash basin with water from a pitcher and then put your hands in it and wash them in the water. And they continued to fill the sink with water and use it like that traditional wash basin instead of sticking their hands under running water like we do today.
It's got these neat nickel legs. I think the ads was for brass, but these are nickel, but the same exact design, recessed to stay out of the way. And the coolest feature of all, I think, is this. This is a replacement for the modern P-trap. I shouldn't say replacement, it was the early design of the modern P-trap to keep sewer gases from backing up into the house.
P-traps hold water to block sewer gas from coming up from the pipes into the room. This original P-trap serves the same purpose by creating a water block to keep that sewer gas out, but finding one of these intact is extremely rare. It's actually not called a P-trap, it's considered an S-trap. The fact that it's here and original and in such great condition is amazing. It's got this plug down here to open up and help clean it out. I'm hoping we can keep this, but I don't think it's up to current code. The toilet is also not original. The signature feature of a Victorian era toilet is the placement of the tank several feet above the bowl. This is what's commonly called a high tank toilet. That high tank was really a matter of function, not style. Early siphoning toilets were very inefficient and they had to have a lot of water and water pressure to completely remove waste, so the tank needed to be at least 4 feet above the bowl to generate that pressure to flush the toilet. The typical flush used 3 to 5 gallons of water. That's way more than twice what modern toilets use, and each flush would have been very loud. Now, this bathroom did not have a freestanding shower. It may have had a shower head suspended over the tub with a curtain on a ring hanging from the ceiling, like the one in this picture. But just for fun, here's a full-blown freestanding fancy Victorian shower. The main inconvenience in early Victorian baths was the need to heat water and carry it someplace else for bathing. This house had both hot and cold running water, and we know that because the plans call for installation of a hot water heater by the stove in the kitchen. Early hot water heaters were cast iron and could be heavily decorated. This was to show status and wealth, and they were often on public display, fueled by natural gas. They were not completely safe until the invention of the temperature and pressure relief valves patented in the early 1900s. Before that, they had a tendency to overheat and explode.
These are really cool marble slabs that they put under the wet areas of the bathroom. So it was designed for the commode, for the sink, and for the tub. This one's been mutilated. It's not in good shape. At some point, somebody took the bathtub out and put a pre-made terrazzo shower in here. We've demolished it, but you can see the outline of where the shower pan was. When we did that demolition, I discovered something. That's one neat thing about the house. You always learn. You think you know what's going on, and then something shows up that tells you you're wrong. There's a closet in the back that has a tub in it that's not original. I assume they moved the tub here and put it in that closet when they put the shower in. That tub fills and drains from the end. This tub obviously filled from the side. These are the original water lines that would have come up and filled the tub. So now I don't know where this tub went or where that tub came from.
So you can see here, this is the tub that came out of the servant's closet that I assumed had been removed from the family bathroom when they put the shower in. But this is why I'm not so sure. You can see it fills through faucets at the end of the tub, which is not consistent with where the plumbing was originally in that bathroom. I just noticed for the first time it's got this beautiful cover on the overflow. We'll have to take that out and strip it down. And this tub's in pretty rough shape. Somebody put an epoxy coating on it that's peeling off. But since I have the tub, I will put it back in the family bathroom.
This drain is not original. It's got a P-trap. It's actually not a P-trap. It's made out of 90-degree elbow pipe, but it is the concept of a P-trap, not the old pot trap that was used originally on tubs. A neat feature here, if you look how deep this space is between this floor and the ceiling of the room below us. I can reach all the way down and just barely touch the ceiling. Oh, I got a spasm. Okay, I have a history of neck spasms, and that just caused one. Anyway, you can see that between the top of this floor and the ceiling of the one below is a little bit longer than my arm, because I could not quite reach down there. So I don't know if that's enough room for somebody to crawl in, but it will be interesting when we lift these up. One nice thing about these is that you can take them off and have access to the plumbing underneath, and that's going to be important to be able to replumb this bathroom and not damage any of the existing tile. We talked about demolishing in the what's that thing called? The butler's pantry directly below us. That's part of the reason I want to do that. That way we don't have to tear up any tile. We can reach plumbing from below. We can get to the plumbing in this wall and hopefully get all that replaced and leave all this tile as is. But otherwise, this bathroom is in great shape. There's one piece of tile broken here. I'm hoping I can dig something out from behind the door and replace it so you won't see it. There is a problem with the opening here that they cut in. That's pretty big. I don't know if I can find a close match to this tile or not, but I'm going to try. I do know if I put the tub back, though, it will hide some of that and it won't be very visible. So if I can get something close, I think nobody will ever notice that. I did notice here too, there's an old galvanized pipe running through. I'm not sure what that is. It could be two things. It could either be the radiator heat that was put in the 20s when the Kempners bought the house, or it could be original water line coming down from the cistern in the attic feeding this bathroom. This room does have one of the old vents, and it actually has a lever on it, which is rusted shut to open and close. This is part of the gravity heating system that was originally put in the house. The fan is something else I'm really excited about. It appears to be original to the house, or at least to the 20s. I look at the detail on the fan blades, these little points. That looks Art Deco to me, so maybe it's from the 20s. I'm going to take it down, dismantle it, strip it, and see if I can have it rewired and get it back in working condition, because I think it'll be fabulous when it's all done.
I'm actually getting close to the stage where we're going to be doing some plumbing work. A good way to keep costs down is to do your own demolition. That way you only have to pay a licensed plumber to do skilled work. The pipes in the wall below the bathroom and the butler's pantry have already been removed, and we need to get the fixtures out of the way in the bathroom. These marble slabs need to come up to access the plumbing underneath. I had to run to the hardware store, and by the time I got back, the sink and the toilet had already been removed. Removing the marble slabs would not be so easy. The tiles on the wall are actually overlapping the tops of the slabs, so the slab can't be lifted straight up. These old water pipes that would fill the tub from the center came up through two small holes drilled in the marble, which meant they kind of acted like pins, keeping us from sliding the slab forward. Okay, so we're going to drill out the pipe to free this thing up to slide. We tried drilling out the pipes, but I didn't have a drill bit that would handle it. So I went back to the hardware store and bought a special carbide drill bit. And after about 45 minutes, we barely put a dent in the pipes. After a lot of pondering, I finally noticed that the slabs had a crack behind those pipes, so the slab was already broken in that area. So I made the decision to take out that broken part and free up the slab. The alternative would have been to start removing tiles from the wall, which may have to be done, but I'm not quite ready to concede and start doing that yet. You may have noticed the contact paper on the walls. I put that up there to keep those loose tiles from falling off while we're in here working and vibrating the floor. They're very delicate, and if they fell off, they would break. We did remove a row of tiles directly adjacent to the marble slab on the floor so that we could get a pry bar under the slab without chipping or breaking any of the tile. We also used wood strips to protect the adjacent slab and the tile from the pry bars. We used the pry bars to kind of lift and jiggle and jiggle and jiggle until we could wiggle the slab free from the tile on the wall, and were able to pull it out.
Oh my God, there's a pipe. Okay, hold on.
Once we got the slab free, we discovered that there was actually an old lead drain line that had been sealed over that kept us from taking the slab out completely. So we had to put it back down and figure out how to remove that drain line. Lead is really soft, so I just hammered the flare on the pipe until I was able to slip it out of the hole. Then we could take up the floor and get a good look underneath. If you're enjoying this video, be sure and hit the like button. Tiles we took out. Got the slab out. You can see all the old plumbing. Where my foot is actually the wall between the butler's pantry and the kitchen. You can see the curved edge of the kitchen ceiling. So this bathroom wall does not line up with the kitchen wall below. That's why all these drain pipes are actually water lines. They're coming up through here. They're coming up from the wall. So this was where the old tub was a backfill. Then it was time for lunch and on to the second slab. It was quite a bit easier once the old toilet drain pipe was bent out of the way. It was also made of soft lead. This whole process ended up taking 3 trips to the hardware store and about 5 or 6 hours to complete. That slab was very heavy and these guys struggled with it.
We'll just leave it in here up against the wall. Okay, here's the toilet. Possibly 2 vent stacks. So here we are in the butler's pantry, and you can see that wall where we demolished all the plumbing, took everything out. It gives us access down into the basement. The big drain used to come up. Straight up this wall into the floor of the bathroom, where we took out those marble slabs. That should give pretty good access for a plumber to be able to get in and get new drain pipes in. You can see here the butler pantry wall and where that big drain used to come up. And this is actually that curved part of the kitchen ceiling. I have more bathrooms to demo, and then the layout of the basement needs to be finalized before settling on final layout of all the piping in the house. And at that point, we can get a plumber in here and start putting things back together. We're not at that point yet, but at least we're one step closer. If you've enjoyed watching, please consider going to our website, League-Kempnerhouse.org, and making a donation to help our work continue. We're a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to restoring this amazing house. Another way you can help is to just keep watching these videos, so be sure and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. Likes and comments help other old house enthusiasts like you find us on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time here at the League-Kempner House in Galveston, Texas.